Welcome to the Trilby Connection DVD. This is a training in effective street hypnotism. By that I mean performance hypnosis that's not geared toward traditional stage hypnosis. For people who want to be able to perform with hypnosis at parties, as part of another act, as a party trick, on the street, in bars, clubs, a real range of environments. But we're going to call it street hypnotism. Today I'm joined by Sarah, who is interested in learning about hypnosis. She's seen a little bit of what I do, but you want to get out there and do some hypnosis in public, is that right?
Yep.
Good stuff. And we're also going to be joined by Lee, who's also interested in learning hypnosis and recently saw what I do at one of my lectures, so I've invited him along to come and learn a little about what it's like to learn how to be hypnotized. So we'll meet Lee in a while. This approach to using hypnosis is characterized by a number of things. Firstly, it's quite rapid in terms of the techniques that you use, although that's slightly softened by certain language patterns and tricks that you're going to learn. It's characterized by being quite direct. In other words, you're going to make a suggestion, you're going to test your work constantly to see if your subject's coming with you and those suggestions and ideas that you're putting forward are taking hold. And it's characterized by a kind of gradual scaling up of the phenomena that you're going to get into. And what that means is that you can perform with this to even a very basic level, and you'll have still given a satisfactory demonstration without all the fears of, well, you know, what if it doesn't work and that kind of thing. Okay, so we're going to run through this in quite a structured way, and the structure we're going to use is, first off, we're going to look at the approach, and by that I mean walking up to a group of people or an individual in any situation and essentially engineering a conversation about hypnosis that's going to lead to them wanting to be hypnotized. We're going to talk about the setup process. So after you've approached somebody, typically they'll come back with some kind of response. It may be based on fear, it may be based on misconceptions, they may just be really excited and want to be hypnotized. But we're going, in the next few sentences that you're going to use with them, you're going to set them up so you can get them in the perfect physical position, the perfect kind of mental state of mind, and in a way that they feel happy and safe with what you're going to do. Okay, we're going to call that the setup. And then we'll look at what I call a set piece. This is just a term that I use to refer to the typical kind of exercises and things that I'll do with somebody prior to getting to the real hypnosis, the proper induction, if you like. We'll then come on to the induction itself, and I'm going to teach you 4 or 5 different ways of inducing hypnosis. From there, we're going to get into what's called deepening and using fractionation to really stabilize the situation that you've created, this hypnotic relationship, and to intensify the experience that they're having. And from there, we're going to start to get into some of the bigger phenomena of catalepsy and amnesia and hallucinations and all this kind of thing. Okay, once you've had your fun with your hypnotic subject and they've experienced all these different phenomena, we want to make sure that everyone is happy and back to normal. So finally, we'll go over the wake-up procedure and why that's important, why it's done in a particular way, and we'll also talk about health and safety in some detail as well. So it's got a nice clear structure, it is easy to learn, and the only thing you need to do is be the hypnotist, okay?
Okay.
Good. Okay, before we really begin and get into the structure of this, the approach, the set piece, the inductions, I know that you've dropped into one of my training courses and you've seen hypnosis happening, but am I right in saying that you haven't been out in public and hypnotized people and
Yeah, no, I haven't.
You haven't done that kind of thing? Okay, well that's what you're going to be doing. Right. So right now, the thought of going into a bar or a restaurant and announcing yourself as a hypnotist and hypnotizing somebody, how does that make you feel?
It's a bit of a scary thought, yeah. I'd love to be able to do it, obviously, but it'd be interesting to see if I can manage it.
Okay, well, you absolutely can manage it, and the way you're going to manage it is to first of all get your own head, your own mind in order, okay, and develop a good attitude that's going to make this easier for you. So I'm going to say a number of things to you that if you like, they're presuppositions, they're assumptions I make that I hold kind of quite dear to me at my core when I'm out doing this kind of thing. And again, I'm not suggesting they're true, I'm just suggesting that I proceed as if they're true, okay? The first one is that people are suggestible, okay? That means that they're entirely capable of taking on ideas that are presented to them. You're going to proceed as if you've been doing this for years, you're an expert, and they will engage with you enough, okay? So that's number one. People are suggestible, and your job as a hypnotist is to give suggestions. That's what it's all based on.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Another thing that I've found is that the higher your potential subject's emotional levels at that particular point, the better. So obviously a massively high level of emotion would be unbridled anger or jealousy or being deeply in love or whatever else it happens to be. I'm suggesting that in that state where you're in a high level of emotion, you are more open to ideas. In a way, you are more suggestible because you're less critical of the ideas that are being put forward. So when I'm performing, even if I'm approaching a table, you know, within kind of 10 to 30 seconds, I want people to be engaged and I want their emotions to also be engaged. So that may just be that they're slightly more excited than they were before. It might be that they are slightly fearful about what might happen. But whether it's fear or whether it's excitement or something else, that is likely to mean that their attention is then focused on me, the hypnotist. And that's what I want. It's really important to get hold of people's attention, okay? When you approach a table, or a group of people, or just an individual, or someone on the street, I'm going to give you some specific techniques that you can use that are going to help break the ice, as it were, okay? The first thing that I want you to do is to let people know that you are a hypnotist, that you can hypnotize them. So however you're going to say that, it's important early on to let them know, to essentially introduce yourself as a hypnotist, okay? Right. If you're in a bar or a restaurant or a club or that kind of situation, or anywhere else to be honest, but particularly those kind of environments where you could potentially be performing, then use the word performer, okay? This comes from a friend of mine, his name is Paul Brook. He does some incredible effects, one of which involves walking up to a stranger on the street, asking them for their wallet, asking them to remove a note from it, and then you tell them what the serial number is. He's an incredible mind reader. That's all I'll say about Paul. How does he get someone to get a wallet out of their pocket and remove money from it? It's very simple. He tells them that he's a performer, and this gives you a huge amount of latitude in terms of what you can ask of somebody. So typically, I will walk up to people and let them know that I'm a performer and that I am a hypnotist. Okay? Obviously, some people would just run away at this point, covering their eyes, because that's where it all happens. They're probably going to be a good subject if that's their belief. One of the main ideas is going to come from a gentleman called Ross Jeffries, who is well known for being an expert of speed seduction. It's a very, very simple technique, a way of introducing yourself to people. And it's called CIQ. It's an acronym for compliment, introduction, and question. Okay, so let's imagine that you're walking up to a table of people. They're sitting there, you know, between courses, or you're out with a group of friends and you've started talking to another group of people, that kind of thing. There's going to come a moment where you're going to use this approach, okay?
Right.
So you're going to give a compliment, and that could simply be, you look like an intelligent guy, or, you know, you two look like interesting people, okay? That's your compliment.
Right.
Your introduction is going to be, I'm Sarah, I'm a hypnotist. You're going to say it as calmly and confidently as you would anything else, okay? And you're then going to ask a question. Now, again, this question, the only real reason you're asking this question is to get a response out of them, to get some information coming back in your direction, okay? But you could ask a question that helps you, like, have you ever been hypnotized before?
Right.
Have you ever imagined what it's like to be hypnotized?
Okay, and okay to use the word hypnotised.
Yep, because you've already said you're a hypnotist,
oh, yeah.
Right? So they're scared already.
Yeah.
Being scared doesn't matter, right? Because that's a nice raised level of emotion. So being scared is fine. That's not going to stop them from being hypnotised.
Are there any particular kinds of people who are best to approach, like men or women, or are big groups to be avoided? Or
Yeah, this is a thing for the person beginning in hypnosis. This question is mainly about, can you spot a good subject, let alone are there good groups to approach? Well, I've been doing this for 15 years and I'm afraid I can't spot a good subject. I can't walk into a bar and say, he'll be good, she'll be good, they'll be rubbish. Yes, there is a certain element of this that is reliant on numbers. Some people are naturally better subjects than others. I'm sure everyone can get there eventually. But for the sake of performing hypnosis and street hypnosis, you really want to get to the people who, on that night, in that mood, with that hypnotist, are up for it, okay? So I like approaching groups. I like approaching groups that are mixed, if they're available, because they kind of support each other, and you can kind of bounce them off each other. But being in a group gives people that kind of safety in numbers. In some people, it will bring out their need to be a star and enjoy a bit of attention, which is quite good if you can appeal to that. If people look really locked in a deep conversation or right in the middle of their meal, then I'd probably hold off. I want this to be workable. I want there to be a bit of space. I want there to be a place where I can stand or sit where they can definitely hear me. It doesn't matter that much if there's lots of outside noise, as long as they can hear me. So my advice, really, if you want to be good at this, is just approach anyone that will stand still long enough for you to give them a compliment, introduce yourself and ask a question. And what I'm looking for at this really early stage, I know it's very early in the proceedings, from the moment I've introduced myself and said I'm a hypnotist, what I'm looking for are the people in the group that seem most fascinated and interested with at least hearing me out. And those people generally have a look of being quite still, of just looking. They might be smiling, but they're just looking straight at you and totally hanging on to your every word, because this secretly is something they've been interested in, or they've heard about it, or they're wondering what it might be like. So that leads to a sort of state of fascination and interest. And for me, that is a really good sign that those people are likely to be pretty good subjects. Right. Okay, so let's imagine that you've approached the table, you've confidently introduced yourself as a hypnotist, you've asked a little question that's kind of engaged them and got a response, and now you're essentially at the point where you might have a conversation. But you're not just going to have a conversation. What I suggest you do is immediately get into setting things up so they're going to be perfect for this demonstration of hypnosis. Now, by setting things up, I'm not referring to duping them in any way, but there's a number of things you want to achieve in the next minute. One is you want the person or group of individual that you're going to hypnotize to be in the perfect physical position for what you're going to attempt to do. Okay, so that means that right now, in this, if this was the situation, we were sitting here like this, then I would typically say, okay, if you're ready to do this, can you just place your feet flat on the floor for me, just face this way? Can you put your hands on your lap? Would you just take a deep breath in, just breathe out and relax? So the person's going to be in a comfortable position. They may be there for some time, so I want to make sure that they're in a comfortable position, but also that they are complying with me at this point in time. Now, I don't believe that hypnosis is just about social compliance. However, at this early stage in proceedings, I want to find out if my subject is listening to me, if they've got the sense to understand what I'm saying, and if they're prepared to take these ideas on board. Okay, so setting them up physically is an opportunity for me to essentially test if they're taking my ideas on board. So using this phrasing of would you, can you, allows you to essentially ask or give commands but make it sound like quite a permissive statement that leaves them with a choice. Would you put your feet on the floor? Would you place your hands on your lap? Can you just sit comfortably and take a deep breath in? That kind of stuff. Right. Okay, that's how I'm going to physically set somebody up.
Right. So you're coming across as being in control of the situation before you even
just like a doctor would ask you to stand in a certain way or swing your arm around in a certain way. You know, he could just be writing his shopping list as far as I'm concerned. But but you do what he says because he asked you to do it, and you assume it has some purpose. And again, that's another thing that's coming over as you set things up. Even if you're setting up a group, I would actually rearrange their chairs, perhaps have 2 chairs together or a small row of chairs. If it was an individual, I might ask them just turn their chair this way, or can they just move it out slightly? If they were standing up, I might ask them to move to one side. I might ask them to place their feet together. So yeah, part of it's for compliance, but part of it, as I say, is to see if they're prepared to take the ideas that you're presenting on board. So that's how you get them physically set up. The other aspect to this is, as quickly as possible, to deal with any major fears or misconceptions that are going to prevent this from proceeding in the way that you want to. If any objection comes to you in that way, apart from I don't want to be hypnotised, which is fair enough, I'm not suggesting you hypnotise people who don't want to be, but if any other objection comes to you in that way, then you just want to squash that objection as quickly as you can, literally in a sentence or 2. So if somebody says, I won't get stuck in a trance, will I? You can say, of course not. You can't get stuck in a trance. You know, it's just a state of mind, and it's as much about you taking yourself there as it is me putting you in that state, that kind of thing.
Right.
So you can allude that it's very much to do with self-hypnosis.
Right.
And there are many, many experts in this business who believe it's all to do with self-hypnosis. Right. So it's a fair comment. If someone is concerned that you're going to make them look ridiculous, then you're going to look at them and genuinely and honestly say to them, look, I'm not going to make you do anything stupid, make you look ridiculous in front of your friends. I want you to have a good experience here. If someone is concerned that they're too controlling, or you know, that they're a power freak or something like that, then just reassure them and say, look, I'm going to show you how to have even more control over yourself. So just try and appeal to them. If someone said, oh, he's going to put me to sleep, then that would kind of be an opportunity for me to say, well, I will use the word sleep, you know, as all hypnotists do, but understand that when you're hypnotised, you're not asleep, like the deep sleep that you have at night. It's just a relaxation of your nervous system. You know, your imagination expands. It's just a state of mind where you can get in touch with your creativity. Just say something, so that when they're sitting there after you've said sleep, and they're sitting there wondering, I'm not asleep, should I tell him? They can be reassured in the fact that, he said that I'd be able to hear him, or she said that,
yes,
you know, I'd be able to hear what she was saying. And that's the situation most people are in. Okay, they're sitting there wondering if they're hypnotised yet, but they still have an overwhelming compulsion to act on the idea that their mind has got hold of in that particular moment.
Oh, really? So even when they're acting on your suggestion, they might still be wondering whether they're hypnotised?
Of course they can.
Right.
So let's say you were to stick someone's hand to their face so they can't pull it off their face, then they might sit there thinking, this is ridiculous. Of course I can pull my hand off my face. That said, I've got to say that the vast majority of people, when you get them into a good, solid, stable, hypnotic situation, are not really thinking about this stuff a great deal. They're just responding to the ideas that are coming into their mind. Okay, so that's a little bit about the setup. Okay, and then you're going to get into the techniques. Okay, so you've approached the table or an individual and you've engaged their attention, you've introduced yourself, and they're essentially ready to be hypnotised. They're in a perfect position and kind of state of mind to be hypnotised. Now is the time for you to get into your techniques. And we're going to go through various techniques that individually or collectively I refer to as a set piece. Now, you can hypnotise people with any of these techniques, but primarily I use them as a kind of bridge between the conversation, the approach and the intro, and the induction itself. A set piece is an opportunity for me to firstly gain some credibility and prestige in the eyes of the subject, because I'm going to appear to make things happen. It's an opportunity for me to gain some confidence in my subject and decide, you know, whether I'm even going to push on to the induction and try and elicit some phenomena, because sometimes you just want to back off at this point. It's an opportunity to observe your subject. So it may be that they're already exhibiting signs of hypnosis which you're going to use. So there's lots of things that you're trying to achieve with a set piece. Although the exercises may appear to be very different from each other, they're all geared towards achieving these objectives. Okay? And we'll come on to how to use them as inductions a little bit later on. For example, a classic technique that, you know, I use very, very often is known as magnetic fingers. And I think you've seen this kind of thing, where you ask people to put their hands out, clasp their hands together, bend their elbows, put their fingers up, and then you tell them that their fingers are going to touch because they're magnets, okay? It's very, very straightforward. Even in that kind of technique, I'm still going to use this language as before. So would you place your hands out in front of you like this? And you see you're compelled to do it, okay? Can you clasp them together nice and tight so your palms are together? Bend your elbows like you're making a desperate prayer. And then put your first fingers up about 1 inch apart. Just stare at the gap between your fingers now, because in a moment they will touch. Just like they're two magnets, you can see they're already starting to twitch. And when your fingers touch, that's your signal just to close your eyes. That's right, with your eyes closed, take a nice slow deep breath in. As you breathe out, just allow your hands to drift down, and you can open your eyes and be ready for your next instruction. So it's nice and simple. But you're in this position just by following, can you, would you, you're there already, okay? So because the very next thing that I want you to do is look at the gap between your fingers, rather than looking at me or looking at your friends or anywhere else, okay? Because I've said, can you do this, would you do that, would you do that, would you do that? Now look at the gap between your fingers. Okay, I'll get very direct at that point, so they realise and just take that on board like it's the next kind of permissive type instruction, but it's not, it's a very direct command. If you were to use magnetic fingers, then understanding that this principally works because of the physiology of the body, the fingers come together quite automatically when you squeeze your hands together. You need to kind of claim that as your own, and in your own mind, you need to understand that this is not a trick that you're just using on somebody. You're going to make their fingers come together with suggestion. In a moment, you're going to go a step further and stick their fingers together with suggestion. Okay? So when you get to the point of look at the gap between your fingers, the very next utterance that you make is going to point toward the result, which is because in a moment they will come together and touch, and you state that as a fact. Okay, a simple statement of fact, because in a moment they will come together and touch. That's right, they're already starting to move. Okay, so you're going to hear this phrase, that's right, a lot, and the term pacing and leading. So by pacing, I simply mean saying exactly what is happening in that person's experience right now. So as soon as you see this starting to happen, it's entirely true and correct to say they're starting to move, they're starting to go, fingers twitching, fingers moving. There's various statements you could make that if you were the subject, you'd only really be able to verify as being true. As they get closer, you can state that. That's right, they're getting closer and closer. The closer they get, the stronger that force becomes. When they're millimeters away from touching, you can then link this moment to the next thing that you want to happen. So when they're millimeters away and they're still moving, I'll say, and in a moment when your fingers touch, you can allow your eyes to close. So again, I'm back to this kind of permissive use of language. I'm pushing directly, and then I'm backing off and saying, and you can allow your eyes to close. When in fact, all I wanted all along was their eyes to close. I just didn't want to immediately say, just close your eyes.
You're not asking them to close them,
You're presupposing that they will close their eyes.
They will close, so you can let that happen.
Yeah, and they will close their eyes. They will always close their eyes. We've spoken about magnetic fingers, and again, understanding that there is some physiology involved, some physiological reason, if you like, why the person's fingers come together. The next thing I'm going to show you has been used for decades and decades and decades. I don't even know the origin of it, but I'm going to refer to it as Kaloff's eye lock. There's a great hypnotherapist called David Kaloff who put out a recording, I think it's called Hypnotic Techniques, and he demonstrated this technique in there, and it is a very useful technique, very easy to learn and use on individuals at least. So I'm going to take you through this step by step, and you can get an experience of what it feels like to go through it, and then you're going to have a chance to use it on somebody. Okay, so are you left-handed or right-handed?
Right-handed.
You're right-handed. Okay, I'd like you to take your right index finger, just have it pointing down like this, and then about 1 inch back from where your hairline begins, about there, that'll be fine. Just keep your finger on the top of your head the whole time, okay? Close your eyes for me, and with your eyes closed, I'd like you to imagine that you roll your eyes back as if you're looking through the top of the skull, as if you're looking at that point where your finger is. And when you can see it there as like a point of colour or a spot or something like that, then keep your eyes fixed on that spot. As you keep your eyes fixed on that spot and I continue to talk to you, your eyes are becoming locked together, stuck together. As you keep your eyes on that spot, you'll find you can try and open them and find they're completely stuck. I know it's a strange feeling, so stop trying and just relax. You can let your hand drift down now and your eyes open. Good, that shows me you're going to be good at this, okay? So, like magnetic fingers, there is a physiological reason why this occurs. It's not that difficult to work out. And that is that when your eyes are rolled back looking through the top of the skull, you can't open your eyes. It's impossible to open your eyes when you're in that position. Okay, so like magnetic fingers, some people will think of this as a playground trick, as a schoolboy trick, and write it off for that reason. However, lots and lots of people have never had this done to them. And as they're listening to you, even if they think they may know where it's going, when you say, now keep your eyes on that spot, or as you keep your eyes on that spot, which is pacing again, your eyes are becoming stuck and bolted. Again, you haven't actually asked them to test them at this point. You've just paced what is happening. As this is happening, this is happening. So it's like an illogical link between you keeping your eyes on that spot and your eyes becoming stuck.
Yeah.
And then I would repeat that kind of language again. I'd say, so as you keep your eyes on that spot, try and open them and find they're stuck. Right. And typically people will respond exactly like you did. They keep their eyes on the spot and they go, and you see their eyes flutter and you see the tension. And again, this will break, this will collapse in a few seconds if you let it. So there's various ways you can proceed at that point. Typically I'd say, now just stop testing, allow your eyes to relax, send that relaxation down through your body, and then I might get them to open their eyes and get into an induction, or I may just talk them straight into hypnosis from there, okay? And again, I'll explain a little bit more on that, how you can make the most of this moment and use it as a hypnotic induction when we come to that part of the training.
And when you finished it, you said, okay, good, that shows me that you can...
That shows me that you can concentrate, that shows me you're going to be good at this, that shows me you've got a great imagination, excellent, you're going to be good at this. You don't have to explain why this makes someone good at it. You know, all I'm interested in is, are their feet still on the floor, their hands, you know, on their lap? Are they still following my instructions and directions clearly?
Okay.
And they've now had a little mini experience. So for some people, again, not everybody, but for some people, you will kind of go up in their estimation regarding your abilities when they can't open their eyes.
Okay.
Okay. So that's one way of locking somebody's eyes shut. Another way to achieve exactly the same thing is, I'll refer to it as the Elman eye lock. I don't think this is an official name for the technique. What I'd like you to do, if you're sitting comfortably there, that'll be fine. Right. Okay? What I'd like you to do is just look at me for a second. When you're ready, just take a nice deep breath in. And as you breathe out, just close your eyes. And I want you to concentrate on your eyes. And I'd like you to pretend and imagine that every tiny muscle, nerve and fibre in and around your eyes is so relaxed they just won't work. I want you to actively pretend and imagine that your eyes are so relaxed, every tiny muscle, nerve and fibre in and around your eyes is so relaxed they just won't work if you were to hold on to that relaxation. So when they're that relaxed, I want you to hold on to that relaxation and just test them. I know it's a strange feeling. Are you testing? So you can stop testing now and just relax and open your eyes. Okay, so did you try and open your eyes then?
Yeah.
I know it's a weird feeling. Okay, so there's many reasons why this might work. One is that I've used Elman's language there of just pretend and imagine. So generally a hypnotist doesn't ask you to pretend. Okay, so when you say to somebody, just pretend and imagine, then it's like anything else you might, you know, ask someone to just get an idea of, get a concept of. Just pretend and imagine. So pretend is kind of firing up that creative part of their mind, using their imagination to really concentrate on imagining the muscles and nerves and the fibres are relaxed is a suggestion, if you like. Okay? But then I'm going to use this linking language again. So I'm really putting a responsibility on you. It doesn't necessarily feel like that, but I'm putting a responsibility on you to make sure that this succeeds. Okay? So pretend and imagine that your every muscle, nerve and fibre in and around your eyes is so relaxed that they just won't work. Okay? And then I said, and when they're that relaxed, I want you to hold on to that relaxation and test them. And then I just shut up. Okay, so I can sit here for 2 seconds or 5 seconds or 10 seconds or 20 seconds, whatever it takes. And you just sit there continuing to breathe and relax. Okay, and at some point you think, well, I think maybe they're so relaxed that if I tested them, they wouldn't work. Oh, they can't work. Okay, so you've kind of tested your own work. Right? Now again, Ellman just said, look, that's not hypnosis, you've just bypassed their critical faculty, the bit of the mind that kind of questions. Hypnosis for Ellman was about establishing selective thinking, and that is when you wholeheartedly believe in something. Right, so when you do an exercise like this and you test your eyes, you might think, oh, that's weird, they're not opening. If I was to push that forward and suggest at that point very much more directly, they're stuck, they're completely stuck, and your mind takes that and you really start to strain and try and open them, and you can't, well then I would argue that your mind has locked around that idea, therefore your eyes are stuck. They're not actually glued stuck, it's just a belief of yours. So as far as I'm concerned, we are kind of in the territory of you being hypnotized at that point, right, because you can't open them. Right. But even as a, as a very kind of soft test with an entire group, you'll find that a decent percentage of people simply cannot open their eyes at that point. If they open their eyes, then you can always say, that's fine, you're just testing to see if you can open them, close your eyes, and you can run through the entire thing again, and you'll find that you have even more success the second time. But, most of the time if I'm working with a group, I'll just, from that point, focus on the person who can't open their eyes. It's really simple. So
you could do it in a big group, so everybody's doing it at the same time,
yeah,
and then maybe choose your
subject. And indeed, and you can do it by putting your finger on their head. I prefer to let people put their finger on their own head, because then if their eyes are stuck, it's only a short leap to stick their finger to their head, and that's when things start to look stupid. Okay. So as you try and open your eyes, you'll find your fingers sticking tighter and tighter to your head, and they're then in this kind of impossible position. So, it's all geared to making them look ridiculous. No, it's not. Okay. So that is the Ellman eye lock, and if you're, interested, then I suggest you check out the Ellman induction in full, because this is just one phase of it.
Great.
All right. The next thing I'm going to show you is also quite a classic technique of hypnosis. We're going to use it as a set piece. Again, you can use it as an induction. You said you're right-handed, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, can I just borrow your left arm for a moment? What I want you to do is make a tight fist with this hand, as tight as you can. Keep your eyes there, right, fixed on one spot, and take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, just close your eyes and concentrate on that fist, making it as tight as you can. Making it as tight as you can. Imagine right from your shoulder through your tricep into your forearms, getting stiffer and stiffer, your forearms getting tighter and tighter, your tricep stiffer and stiffer, your wrist like one solid unit. Concentrating on that idea that you have a steel bar running from here to here. You'll find when you try and bend your arm, it's completely stuck, it's stiff and rigid. Put some effort in, try and bend it. I know it's a strange feeling. You'll find the harder you try and bend it, the tighter it gets. Now I'm going to touch your arm, it can just relax, your eyes can open, and you'll be back in the room ready for your next instruction. Okay, so that's a stiff arm, so it's quite a straightforward exercise. You can get into it in one of two ways. One way is to ask the person if you can borrow their arm, if you can use their arm, ask them to make a tight fist. And this proceeds very much from asking them to do something and then asking to imagine that it's becoming like something, and then telling them that it is exactly like that thing. Right. So in this particular situation, I said, can I just borrow your arm? Can you make a tight fist? And again, I'm going to look and I'm going to make sure that it's a tight fist. I then said, look at a spot right there on the edge of your hand. That's to make sure that you're not still over here, concentrating somewhere else, okay? So I'm going to look here, make sure it's a tight fist. If it's not, I'll say make it a tight fist. I'll say look at a spot, and I'll look at your eyes and make sure that you're looking right there. Okay, I'll then say, I want you to squeeze that fist tighter and tighter. So I'm asking you what to do. I'll say, make your arm completely stiff and rigid. And as I do that, I'm going to kind of tap your arm like this on the outside. I'm going to poke your tricep. Obviously, it's your tricep that straightens your arm, your bicep bends your arm. So I'm going to poke your tricep. That encourages that muscle to engage. And I'm still going to tell you then exactly what to do. I want you to imagine that from your shoulder right to your fist, that arm is a steel bar. I haven't actually tested it or said that you won't be able to bend it or anything like that. I'm getting you to imagine now. You're really concentrating on it. It's completely stiff. I'm reminding you to keep it stiff. I'm asking you to imagine that it's like a steel bar. And then I'm going to introduce the idea off the back of this steel bar that it's unbendable, it's completely stiff and rigid, you cannot bend it. And when you try and bend it, you'll find you cannot, you'll find it's completely stiff and rigid. So right at the end, I'm just tagging onto it again that you can try and bend it, which is suggesting you won't be able to, and that you can find that you cannot, that it's completely stiff and rigid. So again, your success here is dictated by the fact that you cannot bend your arm. Now, obviously, the only way you can bend your arm is to not do what I'm asking you to do.
Yes.
Okay, which is to relax and think, well, of course I can bend my arm, that kind of thing. But because we're at such an early stage and people want to have this experience and you're making it interesting, you'll find the vast majority of people are completely stuck, stiff and rigid, unbendable, and you're going to let them out of that situation by saying, now I'll touch your arm and it will relax and you can open your eyes. And they'll go, oh, that was weird, I really couldn't bend my arm. And you just get on with the next section. Okay?
Okay.
Let's try something else. Again, are you left-handed or right-handed?
Right-handed.
You see how many times I can ask that question, like I'm genuinely interested? You're right-handed. What I'd like you to do, I'm going to give you this card. Just hold on to the corner of it, really tight, with your thumb and finger, as tight as you can. And let me just adjust your arm. And I want you to look at the corner of that H right there, as if you were just particularly interested in that corner. Keep staring at it, keep looking at the corner. Now, as you look at it, what I want you to do in your mind is to begin to repeat the words, I am going to drop this, I'm going to drop this, I'm going to drop this, and then close your eyes and picture the corner of that card there as you continue to repeat those words, I am going to drop this, I'm going to drop this, I'm going to drop this. And as you continue to repeat that in your mind, you'll notice how interesting it is to realise that your fingers are stuck to the card. You cannot drop the card, it's completely stuck. You can try and drop it, you'll find it just stays there. The harder you try and let go of that card, the tighter it sticks to your thumb and fingers. I know it's a weird feeling. When I click my fingers, you find, of course, you can drop it. You can relax and you can just let go of the card, can't you?
Yeah.
Of course you can. Okay, so this technique, again, I'll refer to it as Kalof's card drop. Although people have been sticking people to things for years and years and years. You can look in Orman McGill's Encyclopedia of Stage Hypnosis. There's lots and lots of routines along these lines. But David Kalof has added something to this. And more recently, it's been taken further by a gentleman called James Tripp. He's a performer and he specialises in what he calls hypnosis without trance. So it's lots of exercises along these kind of lines to get you to a place where you can experience all hypnotic phenomena but without any formal trance or formal induction. And he uses this very well. So the adjustment of the wrist there does put a bit of tension in your wrist. It actually makes it slightly more difficult to open your thumb and finger. It's not impossible, but it's easier that way than it is like that, okay? So generally just lift their wrist up with the same kind of purpose you would any other instruction. Let me just adjust your wrist and just look at the corner of the card. Keep your eyes fixed on one spot, okay? I generally direct people to a point that I'm sure they can see, but you could just say pick a point and keep your eyes fixed on that spot. It's important they're not looking at the whole card, that they're looking at one spot. Again, I will generally then give the person directions to take a deep breath in, to breathe out, that kind of thing. And to begin repeating this instruction, I am going to drop this, I am going to drop this, I am going to drop this, okay? Now, this results in a number of different responses. But according to Kalof, in most people, what it causes is what he refers to as a subconscious panic. Okay, because the person starts to think, I'm not going to drop it, I'm not going to drop it, it's not going to fall, I'm not going to drop it. So that, if you like, is becoming the occupying thought in their mind, even though you're asking them to keep repeating, I am going to drop this, I am going to drop this. Right? Their mind, because they can't see any reason why it would stay there, is starting to go in the other direction. And as that starts to occur, the hypnotist can then simply switch it round and say, and as you continue to repeat that, you can note with interest that it's stuck to your fingers. It's completely stuck to your fingers. It's stuck fast. You cannot drop it. So again, you're then giving them an absolutely clear direction.
Right.
And they'll have this moment, just like they did with their eyes, just like they did with their arm, of, oh my God, I can't drop it. And at that point, it kind of becomes auto-suggestion. They're suggesting it to themselves. They're now saying, I can't drop it. I can't let go of it. I can't let go of it.
Right.
Do you understand?
Yes.
So you're just trying to kind of flip this process round in their mind. But again, if you're interested in this and other things like this, then I really recommend you check out James Tripp's hypnosis without trance. He's got lots of free videos and information online. One other point to say on the card drop is that just after it's stuck, again, I still want to be the person in control here. So if I succeeded and you can't drop it, then I'll then say, but of course, when I click my fingers, you can drop it, can't you? Well, of course you can, because you can relax and you can let go of it. Other alternatives for this, let's say I was doing this to someone and they're just so suggestible right from the off that they drop it, then I've succeeded anyway. You know, sometimes you won't even get to the point of challenging them. You'll say, I'm going to drop this, I'm going to drop this, I'm going to drop this, and it drops. And I've had that, and it turns out that they're a very good subject. Right. If they drop it before the test. Right. Do you understand? Because they've just taken that as a suggestion and found that they're unable to keep it there.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. They're literally reacting.
They're literally reacting. They're responding to your
suggestion.
They're essentially there already. The idea that you're presenting is being taken on board.
Right. Okay.
What we're going to do now is I'm going to bring in Lee. And Lee, like you, is also someone who's got an interest in learning hypnosis. And unfortunately for Lee, he's going to learn it from the inside rather than the outside. But he's going to be your subject. I haven't set anything up with him. I haven't told him anything about you or that you're going to be hypnotising him or not. Right. But I want you to just get straight into this, okay? Right. So, Lee, come on in.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Sarah. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I like your jacket.
Thank you very much.
I'm a hypnotist, and
Okay.
I just wondered if can I show you something interesting?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, start off. Would you mind? Could you? That's right. Make sure both your feet are flat on the ground,
Okay.
and you're comfortable in your back, and hands just rested naturally like this. Just going to try something. Are you right-handed or left-handed, by the way?
Right.
Right. Oh, you're right-handed. Okay. Could you position your finger like this for me? Great. Perfect. Lovely. And if you could just sort of bring it up to your head about an inch. If you just start at your hairline, a little bit further forward. That's perfect. Yeah. And just close your eyes for me. Take a breath in and a breath out. Nice deep breathing. Now, I'm going to ask you to focus on the spot that your finger is making on your head, like a little patch of colour or a patch of light. And I want you to try and look at it now. Really focus on looking at it. Really, really seeing it quite distinctly. Little patch.
Like you're looking through the top of your
like
skull.
you're looking through the top of your skull. Really, really seeing it quite clearly now.
And as you look at it.
And as you look at it.
Your eyes are becoming stuck.
And as you look at it, your eyes are becoming stuck. The more you focus on it, the more stuck your eyes become. And you find you can't open your eyes, can you? The more you try, focusing on that spot, the more you try to open your eyes, you can't open them, can you?
No.
No.
Now stop testing.
Okay, it's quite strange. So,
and relax.
So you can just relax now.
And open your eyes.
And open your eyes, and your hand can just relax as well.
Excellent.
Excellent, brilliant.
Yeah.
That shows me you can concentrate.
Okay, so from that moment, you've got him here. Make sure that you actually give the instruction. Roll your eyes back, looking through the top of your skull. I know that may be making it slightly obvious, but just looking as if you were looking through that spot or looking right at the top of your skull, and people get the idea that they've got to do this.
Right.
Okay, if you just say picturing that spot, they may be visualising a spot in their mind.
Okay.
And the other thing is, once you've got them there and they're in this position, you did just fine, but I would kind of cut down what you're saying a little bit. They're now here. You want to progress pretty quickly using this language that's going to link one thing to another. Now, as you look at that spot, your eyes are becoming stuck and bolted, glued together. Right. You'll find you can test them and they will not open. You can find you test them and they'll be completely stuck, is probably a better thing to say. Right. So they hang on a second, they then test them. And again, I wouldn't really leave them testing that for more than 2 or 3 seconds. Right. It's literally, I want to see that once, twice. That's right, now stop testing. And again, you can just say, send that relaxation down through your body, or you can just say, now stop testing, take your finger off your head, you can open your eyes. And again, you're still very much in control. Right. But you said exactly the right thing afterwards. Great, that shows me you can concentrate. But, you know, does it show you that? It doesn't actually matter. It's another compliment. Now, I'll show you the next thing we're going to do. So now you're going to make his arm completely stiff and rigid. Off you go.
Remember.
Remember to tell him what to do, ask him to imagine what to do, and then tell him how it is. Tell him that that's the state of play. So you're going to start by saying, can you do this? Can you make a tight fist? Make it tricep, shoulder. Imagine still bar, tighter and tighter. And as you imagine, and as you listen to me, your arm is becoming.
Okay.
Yeah. And then test your work.
Okay. Okay. It's Lee, isn't it? Can I ask you, you're right or left-handed?
Right.
You're right-handed. Okay, can you make a fist for me, please? A really tight fist. That's, yeah, perfect. And focus on the spot at the, on the back of your hand. Really, really tight. Now I want you to be aware of this part of your hand, this area. Really focus on can you make that fist tighter? Would you do that for me? Make it even tighter? Brilliant. And you're really focusing on...
Close your eyes.
Now close your eyes.
And imagine your entire arm is like a steel bar.
And imagine your entire arm is like a steel bar. More and more rigid.
Shoulder, your tricep.
Your shoulder, your tricep, all the way down. So really, you can feel it all stiffening. The tighter and tighter that you make your fist, the more rigid and rigid your arm becomes. More and more rigid.
And as you feel that tightness,
and as you feel the tightness,
and you listen to my voice,
your
arm is becoming completely stiff and rigid.
Your arm is becoming completely stiff and rigid.
Unbendable.
Unbendable.
You cannot bend it.
You cannot bend it.
When you try, you'll find it's completely stiff.
And as you try, you find it's completely stiff. And you can't bend it. Can you bend it?
No.
So in a moment, I'm going to let him out of this situation now.
Right. So in a moment, I'm just going to touch the back of your hand. And when I do, all stiffness will be gone and it will return just to normal. That's it. Exactly.
Just relax.
Back to normal. Just relax.
That was good, okay? It was fine, it was perfectly fine. Understanding the stuff I said right to you at the top of the day. People are suggestible, they will take your ideas on board if you present them properly. Okay, your expectation when you say to Lee, you cannot bend your arm, or you cannot open your eyes, has got to be 100%. It's got to be absolutely, and as I say this, you will realise that you cannot open your eyes. You've got to mean that rather than hoping that the tricks and the muscle tricks and all that kind of stuff, the technique is doing it. You have to do it. Right? The fact is, he can just relax and open his eyes. He can just relax and bend his arm if he wants to. But if you're holding his focus, holding his attention, it will be impossible for him to do. So meaning what you say is important. And the other thing I'd say is that, and obviously this takes a bit of time, getting the balance between how much you say and how little you, or how much you let them use their imagination. But there I found he was there, his arm was shaking, his fist was tight. Now in that position, there's no way he can bend his arm, right? But the longer you keep drawing this out and saying that's right and imagining this and imagining that, the more chances are that it will just fatigue and he'll think, actually, I'll just relax it a bit. And then, of course, he can bend his arm. You want to maintain this state that you've led him to put himself in, if you like, and that's what you want.
Right.
Okay? That was good.
Okay, can I ask, are you right or left-handed, by the way?
Right.
Okay, could you just sit straight in your chair for me? Feet, yeah, that's perfect, and hands sort of resting on your legs like that. Yeah, make yourself comfortable, super. Sorry, you say you're right-handed?
Right, yeah.
All right, so if you could take your right hand, please, and sort of position your hand just like this. And can you put it about this far back beyond your forehead? That's perfect, right. Now I want you to close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And now I want you to focus on the dot that makes on your forehead. Really focus on it now and allow your eyes to look at it, really staring up, as if they're staring up through the top of your skull. Really focusing on the little spot like a patch of colour or a dot that you're seeing on the top of your head there. And as you focus on it, the more you concentrate on it, the more tightly shut you notice your eyes become. In fact, so tightly shut they're now closed, aren't they? They're now glued closed, aren't they? In fact, can you open your eyes for me? Really, really try, whilst focusing on that dot, try opening your eyes. Can you open your eyes?
No.
No, okay, now relax. Now relax. As I touch that, you can open your eyes. A deep breath, you feel all right?
Yeah.
Super, all right. So you said you were right-handed, did you? Okay, so could you put this hand forward for me? Yeah, arm forward, just like that, and make a very, very tight fist. Really, really tight. So you can feel, you can see the back of the skin becoming tight, and your fingernails squeezing into the palm of your hand. Now close your eyes, and now this is becoming more and more solid. And as you tighten your wrist, as you tighten your fist, really, really tight now, so you feel this tightening and this tightening, like a steel rod through your arm, tighter and tighter and tighter. And the more you focus on this, the tighter this becomes, the more rigid your arm becomes. In fact, so rigid that you can't bend it, can you? You can't bend your arm at all. And as your arm shakes, the more rigid it becomes. And it shakes more and more and more you find you can't bend it, can you? But the funny thing is, I can bend it, so relax. And open your eyes. Feel okay?
Good. Good, very good. Okay, excellent. That was a decent demonstration there. What was good about it was that as you got into each exercise, you kind of increased your intensity, and that's quite important. A lot of people, when they start talking, just remain on a level or carry on talking in a very relaxing voice, which is completely unnecessary. Raising your intention that what you say is going to be real for them is important. You did that well. Okay, so I want you to keep that principle as we get into the inductions, and I'm going to take you through a number of different inductions. 3 of them happen to be handshake, so-called handshake inductions. Okay, the same rules apply. You're going to pace and lead. You're going to tell the person what is happening as it happens, and then you're going to lead them in the direction you want them to go toward being hypnotized. Okay, let's begin with the first one. This is, I'll just call it the handshake induction. Generally, it's attributed to a guy called Richard Bandler. Okay, so just look up at your hand if you would, look at the lines on it, look at one spot. As that hand moves towards your face, your eyes will begin to change focus, and as you become aware of your eyes, close your eyes and sleep now and relax deeper and deeper and deeper down. This arm can drift down slowly. As it drifts down, you can relax into a very comfortable state. And in a moment I'll say 1, 2, wide awake. When I do, you'll wake up in the perfect state for learning and absorbing this information. So 1, 2, wide awake. Excellent. Okay, so let's teach you how that works. Right. Part of this is a well-known induction. There are many different handshake inductions. As I said, this one has been made famous by one of the founders of neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP, called Richard Bandler, and it's one of my preferred inductions in street hypnosis. I do this a lot. It's quite dramatic. It has some visual aspect to it. The person with a hand over their face. And it's very effective for a number of reasons. So let's go through the mechanics of it first of all. I congratulated you and said, great, you got good concentration, and I just stuck out my hand. Now what happens when you stick out your hand is that the vast majority of people will simply go to shake your hand, whether they know you or not. Even if you just walk up to them in the street, if you're in front of them and you do that, their hand will begin to rise. The thinking here is that this is a pattern of behaviour that's so ingrained in our culture, we start to physically respond. Just like if I was to throw something at you, your arm would probably come up and try and catch it. This action has become an unconscious act on your part. Okay, so I stick out my hand and I get that unconscious act, and just before we make contact, even if we do make contact, I reach over with this hand from above. I take hold of your wrist and I put it right in front of your face, about 18 inches away, and I point. Now what's important about this is I take hold of your wrist. I don't grab your wrist like that, because you'll just think what's happening. It's quite gentle. I just take hold of it with 3 fingers like this, and one's on the back and the thumb and the second finger on the side. I turn and point. Okay, now because your brain was expecting a handshake, it's now thinking, wondering what might happen next. But I'm going to tell you, I'm just going to give you a direct command. Look at your hand, look at the lines on it, and pick one spot. So those 3 instructions essentially focus your attention. Look at your hand, look at the lines on your hand, and pick one spot. 3 instructions. And then there's 3 more. I'm going to move this hand towards your face. In fact, I'd say, as that hand moves towards your face, your eyes will begin to change focus. And as you become aware of your eyes, and then I'm going to put my hand down here and I'm going to click my fingers at the same time, close your eyes. Okay, so open your eyes. So there's 3 instructions to get it in position. As you reach over, look at your hand, look at the lines on it, look at one spot. As that hand moves towards your face, by saying as it moves, for people watching, they may be wondering, is he pushing it? Is it just moving there by itself? That's the impression I'm trying to give you as well, which is going to happen at some point. So as the hand moves towards your face, and I'll put some gentle pressure on the back, your eyes will begin to change focus. Well, they will, because you're looking at a spot and it's getting close to your face. So both those statements are statements of fact. As it moves towards your face, that's going to happen. Your eyes will begin to change focus. Well, that's going to happen. And then I say, and as you become aware of your eyes, which isn't really saying a great deal at all, it's just putting your attention back here again, close your eyes. And I give you a direct command, close your eyes and sleep. And again, in this situation, your hand stayed there. And I just reach forward and I just touch the back of your head. I think you'd agree I didn't pull your head forward. I just touch the back of your head, which is a clear suggestion. Just let go and relax. Just let your head drop forward. Because that's said at the same time as I say sleep. Close your eyes, sleep, bang. It's kind of a natural progression of events. Okay? Right. So I'll show you one more time. I reach out and I say, look at your hand, look at the lines on your hand, look at one spot. As that hand moves towards your face, your eyes will begin to change focus. As you become aware of your eyes, close your eyes and sleep and relax. Deeper, deeper down, once you're wide awake. Nice and simple. Okay? So that is the handshake induction that is attributed to Bandler. I'm going to show you another handshake induction now. This one is certainly attributed to Dave Ellman. I've mentioned Dave Ellman already, and it uses a principle. Some people call it the expectancy principle or the principle of expectation. And this is a handshake that I ignored for years and years and years, but I now really value and I use a lot. I think it will be a good one for you because it gives you lots of leverage, lots of time to actually get to the point where you decide to give the suggestion to sleep. Dave Ellman would say, in a moment, I'm going to shake your hand 3 times. The first time I shake your hand, your eyes will start to feel tired. The second time I shake your hand, your eyes will close. The third time I shake it, you'll go into a deep state of hypnosis, okay? I prefer to do it like this. So I'd shake your hand, I'd keep holding your hand, and I'd just say, look right here, look underneath one of my eyes. Keep your eyes fixed right there. In a moment, I'm going to shake your hand 3 times. The first time I shake your hand, your eyes will start to feel tired. The second time that I shake your hand, they'll want to close, but just try and keep them on that spot. And the third time I shake your hand, your eyes will close and you'll go back into hypnosis. So just keep your eyes fixed there. I shake your hand once. Your eyes are going to start to feel tired. That's right. I shake it again. That's right. Heavier and heavier and trying to keep them on that spot. And the third time I shake it, eyes closing now, just relax and sleep. Go deeper and deeper and deeper down, sinking and floating, drifting into a wonderful relaxed state. Once you're wide awake, okie dokie. So let's talk through that. Okay. By taking hold of someone's hand like this and fixing their attention there, they're already in quite an awkward situation. I appreciate you're going to have to gauge when you can get into kind of physical contact with someone in this way. But it suggests, given the nature of what's occurring here with hypnosis, that I'm in control of this situation. I'm quite happy here. Right? I'm asking you to look underneath one of my eyes, and this applies to lots of the things that we're going to do. I want your eyes to fixate. Now, if I point to a particular spot, I could just easily just say, look in to my right eye, but I generally point right here and say, look, just here underneath my eye. It takes any pressure off you if you're feeling kind of threatened by, just directly looking at someone. So I get your eyes to fix on one eye. I fix my gaze on your other eye. So I'm now looking at the light reflecting in this eyeball. So I'm kind of, like when you look at a magic eye, those 3D pictures, I'm sort of looking through your head. I'll then give you the instructions, okay? And I'm already looking for signs of hypnosis. So I'm going to say, in a moment, I'm going to shake your hand 3 times. The first time I shake your hand, your eyes will start to feel tired, okay? And as I do that, I just very slightly shake your hand. You wouldn't have even noticed it, but I very slightly rise and fall and shake your hand, almost with a breath, because sometimes people will take this straight away, okay? And you'll just see their eyes getting tired and you can get into it. So I'll say the first time I shake your hand, your eyes will start to feel tired. And I don't shake it, I don't fully shake your hand. By saying your eyes will feel tired, I'm not saying you'll blink, they'll close, they'll shut, or anything. I'm just saying they will start to feel tired. The second time I shake your hand, your eyes will feel even heavier, and I want you to just try and keep your eyes on that spot. So I'm kind of indirectly suggesting they're going to close. Sometimes I'll say you'll want to close them. They'll be so tired you'll want to close them. Just keep your eyes fixed on that spot. Succeed. Most people will then blink and keep their eyes fixed. And the third time I shake your hand, your eyes will close and you will go into hypnosis. This is a statement of fact. And I know they're going to close because I'm going to make them close regardless of what your eyes are doing. Okay, so then one, and you can do this, but I've known some people as one shake, and some people just think 1, 2, 3, and they're off. So I want to be a bit more controlled about this. So I'm going to say this. So the first time I shake your hand, your eyes will start to feel tired. That's right, and I might just do that. The second time I shake your hand, they're going to feel even more tired. They want to close, try and keep them on that spot, and that's what I'd expect to see. And then the third time, as that hand comes down, my hand comes down here, close your eyes, and we get into it from there. Okay, so that is the Ellman triple handshake induction. Okay?
Okay.
Good. I'm going to show you one more handshake induction now, and I'll show you what it is, and then we'll just talk about it, okay? Just keep your eyes fixed here, just look right here. Keep your eyes fixed. That's right. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, just close your eyes and relax. That's right. That's it. Deeper, 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 deeper down now. Just going inside. You might notice your eyes fluttering. Tiny muscular movements in those fingers in that hand. And I'm going to count down from 3 to 1. As I count down, that hand can drop down. And as it drops down and the muscles relax, you can do the same thing. Just drop down inside into a comfortable state and relax. 3. That's right. Muscles relaxing. 2. And then all the way down, just relaxing. And 1, 2, wide awake. Okay, not a lot to this one, apart from a bit of patience. Now this handshake was written up in a lot of detail by a very famous hypnotherapist called Milton Erickson, okay? And he's particularly famous for a very long, drawn-out, indirect style of hypnosis, but he also did plenty of direct hypnosis and made the handshake induction famous. And he had a couple of handshake inductions. This is one of them that's known as the ambiguous touch or the ambiguous handshake. Okay, so you shake someone's hand and you fixate their attention. Right now, I've already got your hand in a slightly awkward position. If we were just going to shake hands, then at some point you'd be in that position, and you kind of expect this to happen, to get back to neutral. Okay, but I'm not going to let go. Basically, I'm going to keep you in this position, and I'm just going to move ever so slightly. So I might move down, you'll think that handshake's going to disengage. I might move to the side, and you might think what's happening, to the other side. But the whole time I'm fixating your attention, and as your attention fixates, again, I will typically tap the underside of the arm. I believe Erickson would do that because this arm was quite weak, so he would support the arm. But just for a second, just to touch. If I don't think the arm's taken like that already, then I'll just touch it underneath like that, and then say, close your eyes, and we'll get into the hypnosis from there. So the main thing is that it's similar to before. You're expecting a handshake, and then you're expecting it to disengage. But instead, what's happening is something else. Your brain's never been prepared for that something else. When someone doesn't let go, but they're not, they're not aggressively squeezing your hand. They're just saying, look at this, look at that. Pretty soon, you forget all about your arm, and it just hangs out there. And if I've achieved that, and I've allowed you to sort of dissociate from where your arm is and what you're doing, and it's quite an easy thing to link this to the next thing that I want to happen. Okay, so that is the ambiguous handshake. Right. All right? Yeah. Good. Well, I'm going to show you another induction now. Are you left-handed or right-handed?
Right-handed.
You're right-handed, okay. In a moment, I'm going to show you how to go into hypnosis, okay? And I want you to have complete control over this. What's going to happen is this. I'm going to take hold of your wrist. I'll show you. I'll lift it up. And when it gets to about here, that'll be the point where you go into hypnosis. I'll push it down again, and you'll be back in normal awareness. Okay, so I'm going to go over the steps a few times. I'll take hold of it. You'll feel your hand starting to lift up. When it gets to a certain point, you'll notice certain sensations. Your eyes get heavy. Your eyes want to close. And then I'll push it back down again to bring you back up to conversational and wakeful alertness. So I want you to really try and get a sense of this, get the feelings for this, okay, as it gets up to that point. That's right. You'll feel your eyes getting heavier. That'll be the point where your eyes close, and it'll just hang there by itself, just like it's on a wire, and then to bring you back up, I'd simply push it back down again. Again, so if now was the time, I'd lift it up. We'll get to a certain point. That's right. Your eyes close, and you just relax, you just drift inside, and then it drifts back down again, and you come all the way back up to full and wakeful alertness. Again, I want you to get the physical as well as the mental steps. So it lifts up slowly, you feel your arms starting to get lighter this time, And as it drifts up, you feel your eyes beginning to close. When your eyes closed, that arm just hanging there on a wire now, you can once again just relax and go deeper and deeper and deeper to sleep. Not the sleep you have at night, just a deep relaxation in your nervous system, and letting go, allowing your inhibitions to disappear, feeling confident. I'm going to touch the back of your hand, it will drift down and you'll drift back up to full and wakeful alertness. Good, thank you for doing that. So that's the rehearsal induction. And again, this was one of the, if not the first rapid inductions that I used. I'd already been hypnotising for quite a few years by that point. And I did it in a very noisy environment in a pub somewhere, and it was hugely effective. Okay, part of the reason it's effective and part of the reason it's a good one to use with people who are slightly nervous about being hypnotised is, again, because it's very permissive. Okay, so you say, look, I'm going to show you how to go into hypnosis, and I'm going to show you how to bring yourself back out of hypnosis. And to show you what we're going to do, I'll show you. So you lift up their arm and basically say, I'll lift it up to here, and you go into hypnosis, and I'll push it down to here, and you'll be back in the room, back at normal alertness. But I want you to learn this, so up to here, and each rehearsal that we go through, I'm kind of add a few more steps, add a few more suggestions. So my language will go from as I lift it to as your wrist lifts up, as you feel it just lifting by itself, and you seem to smile at that point. You know, I don't know what was occurring there, but what I'm trying to get to is a point where I reach over that third or fourth or fifth time, and as I touch your wrist, it does what it's doing now, because your arm's now trained and it starts to go up. So I don't really have to touch it. Once I get that, I will use this phrase, and as your arm just drifts up and your eyes close, like this is linked to this happening. And after 4 or 5 iterations of that, sometimes less, you'll find you lift it up, people's eyes close, and you can simply say, that's right, eyes closed, as that arm hangs on that wire, deeper and deeper and deeper. So that's the rehearsal induction, but again, moving from demonstrating something to someone kind of imagining what might happen to it actually becoming real. So it's quite disarming induction, but it's a very good one. So we've gone over a number of different inductions there, and what I want to cover now is deepening. This is what occurs immediately after you've said that magic word, sleep. Okay? So typically when I say the word sleep and the subject's eyes closed, I may touch the back of their head and tip it forward. Okay? I'm not going to wrench it forward. If there's any resistance, I'm not going to keep pushing. Typically it's just a suggestion. As I say sleep, tap of the head, deeper, 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 deeper down. And the vast majority of people interpret that and just let go of their head, their neck, their shoulders relax, and they just physically relax. So that's why if you can get to the point where you've broken through their kind of, their personal space to the point where you can do that without making them jump, then you're doing well at this point. So there are various ways of deepening. One is to be very direct and just say, go deeper. Go to the deepest level of hypnosis. Go to the deepest level of relaxation. Go twice as deep. Go 10 times deeper. Yeah. So that's the first thing. Just tell them, go deeper. It's a word that they're not actually going anywhere. No one's kind of proved that there's any level of depth to hypnosis yet. So it's just one of those words that people seem to know what it means. Okay. To me, it means that they're becoming more used to this new relationship that's been established between you, and they're getting more used to the feelings and the state that they're in. It's that simple. So one is to tell them how it is directly. The other is to link what you're doing to going deeper, and also what they're doing to going deeper. So let's say you've done a handshake and the person's in this position, you've touched their head. You may say, now go deeper and deeper, deeper, deeper down now. I'm going to touch the back of your hand. When I do, it will drift down. As it drifts down, you can drift down with it twice as deeply relaxed. So unless they want to sit there with their hand in the air all day, they can comply to that, or they can take it on board as a suggestion. But you've linked going twice as deeply relaxed down. So you now get a chance to observe and think, well, are they getting into this? Do they look any more relaxed? Okay. So you can link it. You can say things like, as I speak to you, as that hand just hangs there, as I rock your shoulder back and forward. Very often I'll just put a hand on someone's shoulder. I've said sleep deeper and deeper, and I'll just rock their shoulder backwards and forwards and say, as I rock your shoulder backwards and forwards, you can continue to relax and go deeper and deeper. And again, this is quite disarming, but it kind of pulls out quite a natural response in most people. Is that if you're being rocked backwards and forwards, then you generally kind of let go and relax a little bit more. So I'm looking for signs that they're relaxing. You can count, classic things in hypnosis at a count, normally down to send someone deeper. So you may say, I'm going to count down from 5 to 0. And as you drift down into hypnosis, with each number that I go past, you'll find that you can become twice as deeply relaxed. So again, you're setting up these logical links between the counting and the going deeper. Often I'll have the person visualize that 0 like it's a target, like a bullseye at the center of an archery target. And as I count down, you'll drift toward that target. On the other side of that bullseye is a profound state of hypnosis. 5, deeper and deeper. 4, calming down, deeper, more relaxed. That's right. Closer and closer. 3, deeper and deeper, and so on and so on. And 0, all the way through into a profound state. And that will often have a very profound effect on people. You can set up little loops in what are occurring. So you can say things like, as you listen to the sound of my voice, you can continue to relax and go deeper and deeper into hypnosis. Okay? With every breath that you take, you're going deeper into hypnosis. These are classic things to say. Every beat of your heart, every outside sound, basically anything that's on, the sound of the cars outside, every single outside sound, everything that you're saying, everything they're doing can be linked to going deeper. You just have to mean it. You just have to see it. Okay, so for example, if they were looking quite comfortable there and their head started to go to one side, then again you're going to pace and lead. You're going to say, that's right, as your head finds a comfortable resting position, you can relax and go deeper and deeper. Okay, and you can also set off one reaction against another. Sometimes you'll find that the person's eyes are flickering. Okay, just naturally when they're hypnotized, their eyes start to flutter and flicker like this. So you may say, as your eyes flicker, you can continue to go deeper, and as you go deeper, your eyes will flutter even more. So now whatever they pay attention to, they're kind of locked into this little loop. And so much of what you're going to do and the responses you're going to elicit in hypnosis, even the stuff we've done so far, is about creating this little mental loop where they realize something is happening, and that realization essentially becomes an auto-suggestion. Same with a stiff arm. I can bend it, I can bend it. Hang on, I can't bend it, I can't bend it. And of course, it gets more tense and more unbendable. So what I want you to do is practice with Lee. You can choose any of the inductions you like. The classic induction, you could use the 3 handshake. Your eyes are going to feel tired, your eyes are going to feel so tired, you're going to have to try and keep them open. 3rd time they'll close. Or the ambiguous touch. And all I'd suggest is once you've done that, I want you to deepen him for a few seconds. Just say deeper, deeper, or count him down, or use whatever method you like. I want you to give him some positive suggestions, okay? And from this point forward, whenever you take him into hypnosis, I want you to give him positive suggestions. It could be that he loves hypnosis. It could be that he'll be looking forward to being hypnotized by you again. It could just be that he'll achieve everything he wants to achieve, or that he'll wake up refreshed and alert. But just get used to giving him some positive suggestions. Okay, and then at this point, the way I want you to wake him up is just going to say, now I'm going to count to 3 and you'll be wide awake, back in the room, everything back to normal. Okay, and we'll come to the extended wake up later on. One other thing to say is that being consistent is going to help you. And already when I've been working with you, I've been inconsistent in the way that I'm waking you up. Typically, to deepen someone's hypnosis, I will count from 5 down to 0 if I'm going to count. When I want to wake them up right at the end of the hypnosis, so everything's back to normal, I will count from 1 to 5. Okay? But between those 2 points, there are many occasions where I'm going to put you to sleep and I'm going to wake you up so that you can act on the suggestion. I mean, think classic stage hypnosis is sleep, you're a chicken, 1, 2 wide awake, and their eyes open and off they go as a chicken. So there's like this mini wake up after each suggestion, right? So later on when you're getting into the routines, just pick a wake up. It could be 1, 2, 3, it could be 1, 2 wide awake, it could be eyes open wide awake. Typically at 1, 2 wide awake does just fine. And consistently use that so the words just flow. But for now, when you do a wake up, as a full wake up, just say 1, 2, 3, wake up.
Wake up.
Yeah. Okay, let him know that you're going to do that. Good.
Right. You ready to be hypnotised?
Okay.
Super. Okay, thanks. Thanks for doing this. Can you just focus here, please? That's it. That's it. Close your eyes and sleep. Deeper, 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 deeper. And as your head rolls forward, as you feel my hand on the back of your hand, so you find yourself going deeper and deeper and deeper into a state of focused concentration. And as you hear my voice, as you hear any outside sound, as you feel your breath going in and out, so you find yourself going deeper, 10 times deeper still. With each breath that you take, you find yourself going deeper and deeper and deeper into a calm state of focused relaxation where you're ready and interested in what I've got to say to you. Now in a minute, I'm going to count to 3. And when I get to 3, you're going to wake up and feel great. So 1, 2, 3, awake. How do you feel? Do you feel all right?
Yeah, it's good.
Thanks for doing that. It's really kind of you. Now look at your hand, please. Look at the lines on your hand and look at one spot. And as your hand comes closer to your face, you'll notice your eyes begin to change focus. And as you become aware of your eyes, close your eyes and sleep. Sleep. Deeper, 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 deeper. And as your head goes forward, so you find yourself falling deeper and deeper and deeper, and this hand drifts down quite naturally. And as it drifts down, you find yourself going 10 times deeper. And as you breathe in and out, you find yourself calm and relaxed in a state of focused concentration, listening to my voice and ready to take instruction. With each breath that you take, with every word that I speak, you find yourself in a deeper and calmer place. Now in a minute I'm going to count to 3, and when I do, you're going to come back into the room feeling fantastic, looking forward to the rest of the day today, looking forward to being hypnotised, enjoying the whole process of being hypnotised, and looking forward to a very productive and positive day tomorrow. 1, 2, 3, awake. As you feel all right?
That's good.
Yeah, good.
Excellent. Very good. Well done. Yeah, there's a couple of things. It's a slightly odd position you're in here because you're kind of very much lower down than he is. So ideally in this situation, you want to at least be on a kind of equal plane with the person, if not kind of above them. So if I had my subject sitting down, then typically I might stand up to do this, okay? But even if you're doing it sitting down, you did just fine. And you'll notice you get a variety of responses. Sometimes when you do this induction, their arm kind of takes and you say sleep. People do interpret that. If their model of hypnosis is, flop in a chair, physical relaxation, the chances are that's what will happen. Other times you'll say sleep, their head will go forward and their arm will just stay there. But the point is that whatever happens is the right thing for you. It doesn't matter. And you did the right thing in saying, as your hand drifts down, as I put my hand on your hand, you just happen to find yourself there with your hand on his hand. But you brought it into his awareness. You said, and as I do that, and you linked it to where you wanted him to go, which is deeper into hypnosis, and you could see that he got more into it as you did that. You gave him some positive suggestions, which is a good thing to do, and you also gave him positive suggestions regarding the hypnosis and being hypnotised, which is a great thing to say to people. You love hypnosis. Those words often come out of my mouth. Okay. With the other handshake induction where it was in front of his face, if we just do that, you did it and his hand was kind of down here, which is fine. It's not fine, it's less than ideal. This is much better, okay? So his gaze is pointing upwards, it's up there, his eyes are already under some sort of strain. It's going to be easier for him just to let go and let his eyes close, and it's much, something coming to your face like that is slightly different from you sort of trying to guide it up towards his face. So try and get that hand up above their eye line and then pace it toward their face. Sleep, you did fine. When you say sleep, intend that word is going to knock this person out. You have to say it, you don't have to shout it, but you do have to mean it. It's not just like tagged on the end and there's all the complicated process and sleep. You're trying to lock his mind around the idea that what you're doing is going to hypnotise him. So when you get to you kind of raise your energy levels, raise your tempo, raise your volume slightly. As that gets close to your face, your eyes start to change focus. You become aware of your eyes, close your eyes and sleep. It's all very much building towards this crescendo. And it's the same with a set piece. As this happens, that happens, notice it's completely stiff and rigid. If you build that tension properly, then you'll get better results. Okay, so you've filled your head up with a few different inductions there. You only need 1 or 2 inductions that you really master in the real world. I mean, over and over again, I will use one or other of those handshake inductions. More complicated, longer-winded does not mean better. Advanced does not mean better. Most of the time, the simple stuff is the best. So, just look at them, look at the kind of actions involved, and find an induction that works for you, that you feel comfortable using. Works for the environment that you fit in. Some places you don't want to be touching people's hair or putting their hand in their face. You're going to offend somebody. And then just repeatedly use it over and over and over until it's really mastered. Okay. Now we're going to get into what occurs next. So you've done your deepening, post-induction. You fractionated, which is kind of one of the things you did there, where you put Lee in and then you woke him up and you immediately put him back in. You can also use that process without extra inductions. Just wake him up, put him back in, wake him up, put him back in, and that will send him into a deeper state of hypnosis too. It's a process called fractionation. So I'll demonstrate that if you like. Do you want to just watch up here? Okay, comfortable?
Yeah.
Right, can you just put your feet flat on the floor, rest your hands nice and lightly on your leg. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take hold of that hand. I'd like you to look up there, look at the lines on your hand, keep them fixed on one spot. Now as that hand moves towards your face, your eyes will begin to change focus. And as you become aware of your eyes, close your eyes and sleep deeper, deeper down now. As that arm drifts down and relaxes, you can drift down and drift to sleep, deeper sleep now, sinking and floating and drifting down. Now in a moment, I'm just going to say the words, eyes open. When I do, I want you to open your eyes, look up at my finger. And when I say the word close your eyes, that's your signal to close your eyes and go twice as deeply relaxed. Nod your head if you understand. That's right, so eyes open, looking up here at my finger, and close your eyes and sleep. Deeper, 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 deeper. Again, I'm going to say the words open your eyes. When I say those words, your eyes will open. You look up, and when I say close your eyes, you go twice as deep. So eyes opening and looking up at my finger now. Close your eyes and sleep and relax. Deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Sinking and floating down, deeper and deeper relaxed. We're going to do this one more time, and this time when your eyes close, you will drop into a profound state of hypnosis you will enjoy. So open your eyes, try and look up there, and close your eyes and sleep. Deeper, 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 deeper down now, sinking and floating and drifting down. You can continue to hear what I'm saying. You can be aware of the sounds around you, but all that matters now is the sound of my voice. Everything I say to you will become your reality. No matter how stupid or silly it seems, everything I say will instantly and immediately become your reality. In a moment, I'm going to touch the back of your right hand. When I do, it's going to start to feel light and begin to lift up off your leg, just like it's being pushed up on a cushion of air. You're going to feel, that's right, it's starting to go already. Thumb twitching, fingers twitching. You'll feel your wrists beginning to shake, getting lighter and lighter and lighter. I know it's a strange feeling, but as it's going to get lighter and lighter, and it's going to drift up toward your head, just like your head's a magnet and your hand's a magnet. You'll feel this irresistible force, and you'll enjoy this growing sense of well-being, this unusual sense of well-being. In fact, this is going to start to seem funny to you for some unknown reason. The closer it gets to your face, that smile's going to grow, it's going to turn into a chuckle, and when it touches your head, it's going to burst out laughing as inappropriately as you possibly can. This is ridiculous. It's going to get funnier and funnier and funnier and funnier. And when you try and unstick it, you realise you can't. It's stuck to your head. It's completely stuck. And even that, it's like the funniest scene from the funniest film. Only this time, the harder you try and pull that hand off, the funnier it's going to get. That's right, funnier and funnier and funnier. And when I click my fingers this time, you're going to start to laugh like a pig. You're going to laugh like a pig. You're going to laugh like a pig. Oh, you are such a pig. You're going to laugh like two pigs fighting together. Oh dear, this is terrible. Now, when I click my fingers, you're going to squeal like two pigs having a fight. Ah, that's right. Now that hand is sticking looking now. That's right. I'm going to unstick it. You can stop laughing and go deeper sleep. Deeper, 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 deeper down now. All the way down. This arm can relax, completely relax. This arm can relax, completely relax. You are drifting to sleep. So relaxed now, you can imagine your entire body is like a statue. From the neck downwards, your entire body is like a statue. Your legs are made of marble. Your arms are made of marble. You are carved out of stone, and you cannot move anything other than your head. The only thing that will move is your head. So when you try and lift up your right hand now, you'll find it stuck. It will not move. That's right. Put some effort into it. If you're trying to lift it, nod your head so that I understand. If you're certain you cannot lift that arm, nod your head. You're absolutely certain. I'm going to ask you in a moment to open your eyes. You'll go even deeper into hypnosis, and you'll probably wonder if that is your arm because you cannot move from the neck downward. Open your eyes and go even deeper. Is that your arm?
Yeah.
It is your arm. Of course it is. How long have you known that you can move your arm?
All my life.
Try and move it then. And let's make it more interesting. If you can touch that, it's yours. I'm serious now. What if I just put that on there? I mean, I don't know how much is there, probably about 400 quid. But if you can touch that with either hand, you can have it. You're not pretending.
No.
You're not acting,
I
are
actually
you?
can't move.
You cannot move, but you can move your head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll tell you the strange thing. Is if you open your mouth, no, open your mouth, you can't close it. Can you? You can't close your mouth. No, close your mouth. You can't open it. It's impossible. Put some effort in. Let me see you trying to open your mouth. You can still breathe though, can you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah. I'll tell you what, if you can open your mouth, you can have this. It's yours. All you've got to do is open your mouth. Ah, dear, I know it's a strange feeling. Sleep and relax. Deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper down. Letting go of all the tension. Letting go of all the tension. Every muscle in your body can relax completely. Your spine, your arms relaxing, your legs relaxing, your entire body relaxing. From this moment forward, when I say the word sleep or deeper sleep with the intention to hypnotize you, you will immediately return to this deep, profound state of hypnosis where every single idea put your way by the hypnotist becomes your reality just for a time. Now I'm going to wake you up in a moment, and when I wake you up this time, you'll be wide awake and alert, back in the room, feeling amazing, feeling fantastic. You'll have complete amnesia for what's occurred up here. Complete amnesia for what's occurred up here. When I ask you what's occurred, you'll have no idea at all. It'll be as if we've just started. So on the count of 5, you'll be wide awake and alert, feeling like you've enjoyed an 8-hour sleep, like you've had a 3-hour massage, your head clear, nose clear, throat clear, stomach clear and chest clear, feeling fantastic. So 1, sitting up in the chair now. That's right. 2, feeling a surge of energy pouring in through your fingers and toes, up arms, legs, spine, neck to the top of your head. 3, take that deep breath, fill your chest up. Of course you can move your mouth. Fill your chest up, energy giving oxygen, all the silly suggestions gone now. 4, your head being washed through with cool spring water, your eyes clearing, nose clear, throat clear, chest clear, stomach clear. And 5, eyes open, wide awake and back in the room. Back with us? Mm-hmm. Thanks for doing that. Cheers.
So what actually happened there? Because there was some stuff that I tried, but there was a lot of new stuff. So
yeah, we just pushed on a little bit further into the process there. So what happened there, Lee?
I couldn't tell you.
Seriously?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
You remember waking up?
I remember waking up.
Do you remember being hypnotised?
No.
No. Okay, well that's good. Well, I'll tell you what happened there. First off, we had the setup process exactly as I explained this morning. I cut out the set piece. Every element of the process that I'm outlining here is kind of non-essential. I just went straight from the induction, and I used the handshake induction, the Bandler's version of it, if you like. Certainly the one I credit to Bandler. And from there, I then ran into some fractionation. I didn't wake him up, but I said in a moment I will say the words eyes open, and your eyes will open, you look up at my finger, and then when I say the words close your eyes, that's your signal to close your eyes and go twice as deep. Okay, so it's quite specific. I'm not saying you're going to wake up, I'm giving him this expectation, a bit like the triple handshake. I'm giving him this expectation about what's going to happen, what the result of his actions will be. So I said to him, when you open your eyes, you just look up my finger, and when you close your eyes, that's your signal to go twice as deep. And I did that 3 times, I think, there maybe. Normally I'll do it 3 or 4 times. Each time, when I put him back in, I'm trying to put a bit more emphasis on what's going to happen. You're going even deeper, profound hypnosis. I was absolutely certain and satisfied that he was in there, so I then tested my work. His eyes were closed at this point, but I said, in a moment, I'm going to touch the back of your hand and it's going to start to lift up. So again, you can hear this language and you can hear this throughout this training. I'm constantly placing the result that I want, the phenomena that I want him to exhibit, just ever so slightly in the future. Okay? So in a moment, I'm going to touch the back of your hand. I haven't touched it yet. And your hand will begin to lift up. Again, this is now slightly in the future. So now I can touch his hand, even if his hand doesn't move straight away, which it didn't, right? I can buy another little beat. I just ran my finger down his hand, which all suggests lightness. Okay, and by the time I got to there, his thumb had started to twitch, his fingers were starting to lift. So again, you'd have to sort of rub his hand back and forward, but I'm trying to buy myself another little beat, and I'm trying to see that reaction. Now, as it starts to move like this, and I say, that's right, and now we're back into the land of magnetic hands. Okay, so it's like, that's right, it's going to lift. It's like it's on a cushion of air. It's going to get higher and higher, thumb twitching, fingers twitching. It's starting to go already. The higher it goes, the better you're going to feel. Okay, so up to that point where I get his hand up to say here, it's just like magnetic hands. I'm going to keep suggesting, keep presenting the same idea. Your hand's going to lift off your leg. I'm going to say it in 4 or 5 different ways. It's getting lighter, it's full of helium, it's like a balloon, there's a wire around your wrist. Say whatever you have to say, paint a picture. I then gave him a kind of incentive for that hand to touch his head, which is, as it was lifting, and I referred to this as physical phenomena, things like arm levitation, catalepsy. The next kind of phenomenon I'm going to go for is an emotional shift. So I said to him, as it lifts, you're going to enjoy a growing sense of well-being, an unusual sense of well-being, which is ambiguous enough that he could just relax, he could feel bliss, he could just feel happy, okay? But now I'm getting it, because this is lifting, and I've got an emotional response starting to build, and that's what I want. So as it gets higher, you're going to feel better. As it gets higher, this is going to start to seem funny to you. Now that's a very direct suggestion. He probably remembers what occurred to him now. But it does if I do this, look, he'll remember. So you can take it away, you can bring it back in straight away. So here, as he gets close to his face, I then gave very direct but kind of veiled suggestion, this is going to start to seem funny to you. Now if he hadn't taken that and hadn't laughed, I wouldn't have pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. But because he immediately grinned, I've now got something else. I can say as you grin, it's going to turn into a chuckle, and he chuckled. And I said, as you chuckle, it's going to turn into a laugh, and he laughed. And he's now here, so I've got one more kind of key moment that I can hang something on. When your hand touches your head, you're going to burst out laughing, and he was there as the words, as inappropriately as you possibly can, kicked in, so off he goes. And once he's in that, you saw it there, it's a kind of unbridled laughter, there's no restraint on it. You can turn that into whatever you want, and you saw what happened in his case. It's very sensible speech. Okay. So we're now here, right? We've now got an emotional response. At this point, I want to point out the difference between what we call an analog test and a binary test. Okay, by analog, I just mean there's a spectrum, say between 0 and 100, or between his knee and his head. And as long as I'm suggesting arm levitation and I'm getting that, I'm succeeding. If I'm here, I'm succeeding. If I'm anywhere in between, I'm succeeding. That's what I call an analog test. If I get him to here and I say, your hand is stuck to your head, okay, that's what I call a binary test. It's either stuck or it's not. It's not half stuck, it's not sticky. It's either stuck to his head or it's not stuck to his head. So it becomes a very definite black and white test. It's like with magnetic fingers, there's an analog test. Stick them together, there's a binary test. Magnetic hands is an analog test. A hand lock, where you can't unclasp them, is a binary test. So it's exactly the same. Magnetic hands takes no more skill. If you can do magnetic hands, you can do arm levitation. You talk it up to his head, you link it to an emotion, you get that emotion starting to roll, and you link that to, in my case, laughter. It could be anything at all. And when it touches his head, I get much more direct and tell him that it's stuck. It's a statement of fact. It's stuck. It's part of your head. It's glued to your head. It's, you know, you cannot unstick it. I'm still going to hit his mind with this idea repeatedly. And if I can get one hand stuck, then I should guess I can get the rest of his body stuck. So I could have left it there, but I just decided to let him out of that and relaxed him. So this laughter thing is what I'd call a corpsing routine. I want that laughter to become unbridled. And the second thing we did where I said, you're so relaxed, you can't move, you're like a statue. It's as if, so the same kind of thing. I'm presenting the idea that from the neck down, you can't move in as many ways as I can. You're a statue, you're made of marble, your legs are heavy, your arms are heavy, you try and lift them, you can't, have a go. So I kind of tested my work. I'm not about to put 400 pounds on the line until I've tested my work. And I tested it and I got his agreement. So the other thing you can do is you can check in with your subject. Nod when that's understood. When you've tried to lift it, nod so that I understand. Yep, good, okay. There's this perception that doing stuff with the subject's eyes open is stronger than doing it with their eyes closed. Well, by the time they're in the place he was, they can have their eyes open. You've seen people on stage being hypnotised, dancing around with their eyes open. But even there, I'm not going to leave anything to chance. So I said to Lee, in a moment, I'll click my fingers and your eyes will open, you'll go even deeper into hypnosis. Yeah? It's very simple. Eyes open, doesn't kind of look hypnotised. Apart from now, he can see what's going on. He can see this money. He can see, you know, the predicament he's in, and that encourages the subject to kind of express what they're feeling, and whether it's frustration or a baffled expression or, you know, confusion. But that's all very amusing for the audience, because that's when they buy it. That's when they see that, hang on, you know, he really wants the money. Okay, and finally, the other thing that we did there was the wake up, the full wake up. You remember before when you were practicing your induction, I said, give him some suggestions and wake him up by saying 1, 2, 3. Well, you can. I mean, you can wake people up by just saying, wake up, back to normal, it's over. But you want to do your job properly. You want to make sure that, A, all of the silly suggestions that he's been given are essentially taken away. You want to make sure that he comes back to the room feeling good, not drowsy and heady and anything else, but back, awake, very much alert, refreshed. And you also want to ensure that, you know, the next time he gets in bed, whenever that might be, that he enjoys a good night's sleep, rather than thinking, well, have I slept for 8 hours and all this kind of stuff. So part of the wake up is, you know, from a professional point of view, is about ensuring that everyone can see that you've undone the silly things that you've created, and allowing other people to hear your wake up is part of it. So he's in a hypnotised state, and then again we give this bit of expectation about what the wake up's going to do. So we say, in a moment, I will count from 1 to 5, and on the count of 5, you will wake up, everything back to normal, all the silly suggestions gone. Feeling great. Okay, so I'm already kind of dictating how he's going to feel. It will be as if you have woken up from a refreshing sleep, as if you've had an enjoyable massage. You know, it's all over the top. You don't have to say this, but an 8-hour sleep, a 3-hour massage. Refreshed and alert. The next time you get in bed and sleep, you'll sleep wonderfully, and you will wake up at an appropriate time, totally refreshed. And again, a lot of these tips come from the wake-up procedure I learned from a stage hypnotist and trainer called John Chase. He's got a book called Deeper and Deeper, all about stage hypnosis. And he outlines this procedure, and, you know, it's the one that he used for decades because it works, okay? So, 1, every muscle, nerve and fibre coming alive. Yeah, so just that encourages people to start to come alert. 2, imagine a surge of energies pouring in through your fingers and toes. So I kind of look to the extremities and imagine they're sort of... And again, this is imagine. He's hypnotised. If he imagines something, he's there, so he's going to feel it. 3, take a deep breath, and I'll watch, and as soon as I see this deep breath being taken, I'll say, energy giving oxygen whizzing around your system, because he's still suggestible. He's now got a load of oxygen. It's going to go whoosh and whiz around his system. 4, your head wash through with cool spring water. I've got this bad habit when I'm near people of doing this, so they feel this, and they're like, whew. Again, you don't have to do that. So fresh, cool water going through your eyes clear, your nose clear, your throat clear, chest clear, stomach clear, and 5, eyes open and wide awake. Again, he opened his eyes at one point halfway through the induction. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean he's back yet. It just means his eyes are open. So, again, just make sure, because the nature of the wake-up procedure is to wake him up, that you don't carry on in relaxo mode and you'll feel really relaxed and you'll feel really relaxed. He's already felt the most relaxed he's ever felt. We want him back in the room, wide awake, trying to create a bit of a gulf between where he was a moment ago and where he is now. And if you've suggested amnesia for what you've done and that kind of stuff, and sort of tearing him out of this state back into the room, makes it very difficult for him to go and find those memories again. So it's, you know, there are a lot of good reasons for counting your wake up in this kind of progressive, energetic fashion.
Right.
Okay? This is a good point for us to start to talk about health and safety. Okay? My view when I'm hypnotising is that health and safety is completely 100% my responsibility. Okay? You know, accidents happen, and other people can get involved, but as far as I'm concerned, if you're going to hypnotise someone and put them in a position where they may be in some kind of jeopardy, then it's up to you to control all those variables and circumstances. So first off, the easy stuff. Do a proper wake-up. That's kind of what prompted me to talk about it. Do a proper wake-up and ensure everything is back to normal. On the very, very slim chance that you should leave those suggestions there, you know, and he should continue to believe whatever it is he happens to believe. Ensure you do a proper wake-up. Secondly, when you get into your hypnotising, even at the setup stage, when we're asking people to sit in a certain chair and whatever, you need to be aware what is going on around you. Are there friends of this person around? Are they aware what's going on with the conversation, what's going to occur here? Because if they happen to be looking away and then they look round and they see him with his head on the table and you with your hand on top of his head, they might, you know, assume something untoward is occurring. So it's a good idea to make sure that other people are there if possible. Okay? You want to be aware, are there any glasses? Are there wine glasses on the table? Are there other people's drinks? Is he likely to spill someone's drinks if he flicks his arms out and knocks something over? So I'd make sure there's enough space. And again, this is all creating a little bit of a stage for him as you set him to one side and give him a bit of room. Okay? So make sure there's no glass around. If you are going to have him moving around, like so he's walking around or he's dancing around or he believes something that involves, you know, he has to go and get something, then firstly, do not let him out your sight. Do not let your hypnotised subject run, leave the room, or do any of those things. And if you think they might, then just tell them, you will not leave the room. You will not leave this area. Yeah? You will not get out of your seat. They're suggestible, so they won't. If you're going to have them moving around, make sure you tell them to open their eyes. You know, in my first show, for one reason or another, I ended up with 18 blind M&Ms jumping around all over a stage with a very large drop down off the stage. Fortunately, no one jumped off it, but they did all have their eyes shut, and you know, it was a mistake. Understand that some subjects will take your suggestions entirely literally, and for this reason you have to be careful what you say. So I've heard a few horror stories. One story I heard was a guy that said you're an Olympic swimmer to somebody, expect them to lie flat on a table and paddle their way forward. Instead they jumped up on the table and dived head first right at the floor. That's going to end in tears. So, you know, watch out for those kind of things. Recognise that just because he's hypnotised, if you were to tell him that his favourite fairy was on your hand or on the floor and then you were to squash the thing, there's no reason why he wouldn't, you know, feel as angry. I know it's laughable in this situation, but when someone's hypnotised, they will wholeheartedly believe that is the dearest person to them and they will respond accordingly. Okay? So you have to be careful. If you're going to encourage those sort of reactions, and often I make people angry, you know, classic routines are to say things like, you're a librarian, you want everyone to be silent, or you're an exam invigilator, and you're going to be incredibly angry about this, but you won't be violent. So you add a caveat. Okay, so you could say you'll feel incredibly sick, but you won't actually be sick because you can make people vomit with hypnosis. Right? If you look at the 1952 Hypnotism Act and its subsequent revision in the 90s, you will see that there are a number of clear guidelines about people you should not hypnotise and about routines that you should not do. And my advice is to look at those guidelines and do not hypnotise people if they are under 18. Do not hypnotise them if they're pregnant. Do not hypnotise them if they're epileptic, serious back conditions, heart conditions, breathing conditions, or are on strong drugs. Okay. Even there, the chances of anything going astray are very, very small, but they're the ideal conditions, so I suggest you adopt them. And the other thing, there are certain routines that you don't want to do. You don't want to regress somebody to childhood because they may not have had a good one. They might go back to their own. You do not want to tell them they've lost parts of their body. You do not want to balance in between chairs and put them in any physical jeopardy. Do not have them consuming anything because they might be allergic to that thing and you might not know. One other thing to talk about, a serious aspect to health and safety, is the possibility of an abreaction, which sounds quite nasty and can be quite nasty if it happens to you in the middle of a performance. And this is where, seemingly unprovoked, but possibly because of a suggestion that you've given that's revived a memory or revived an emotion or something, some people will have a big emotional outpouring, and the name we give to that is an abreaction. They can be aware of the thing that they've remembered and think, you know, why has that come up? They can be completely unaware of it and just, it's like you've just lifted the lid on their mind and now this thing is demanding to be looked at. And a bit like his laughter earlier on, the reaction tends to be quite unbridled and quite serious. So the person, the subject, is still completely suggestible. So the best thing you can do is to suggest it away. And again, that can sound quite flippant to any hypnotherapist listen to this, but we're performing. We don't want to get into therapy, especially if you're not qualified to do so. So I would just suggest it away. In a moment, I'm going to wake you up and you'll leave all those feelings behind and you will drift back up, everything back to normal, feeling fine, okay, which can sound a bit rich when someone's very upset, but they're still hypnotised at this point, so I'm going to give them that suggestion. You can leave all those, not bad because they're just feelings, but you can leave all those feelings behind and you will drift back up on the count of 5. That's the first thing I'd do. Secondly, when they come out, I wouldn't look at them like, are you okay? Yeah. I would look at them like I do normally and say, you know, how do you feel? That kind of thing. Just an open question, shows that I care, shows that I'm listening, and I would stick around. I would make sure that that person was okay afterwards. The thing you're definitely not going to do is just instantly wake them up and say, okay, it's all over, because they'll bring all that emotion back to the surface with them. So it's quite important to keep that in mind. The chances of it happening to you are very, very small, especially if you avoid regression and other routines likely to upset somebody. Okay? Now, the stuff we've covered so far is essentially going to provide you with a basic recipe for going out and getting started. I suggest you get out there and start practicing your approach and setup, just making a habit of getting people into these positions, and then practicing your set piece exercises until 2 or 3 of them become your own. Okay, then start linking them to hypnosis with the structure that I've suggested. Pick 2 of the inductions that you prefer, use them regularly, refine them, find the little gaps, the little bits that you can stretch out, the bits you can pace and lead, and they'll become your own and you'll become much more successful with them. And then, as I say, give some attention to deepening, but you don't have to go on and drone on for 10 minutes. And then test your work with physical suggestions. If you can make someone's arm lift, I can assure you can make it so they can't lift it. It's not any more difficult, it's the same thing. So early routines and things that you should build early routines around are physical. So catalepsy, you can't stop moving, you can't move, those kind of things. And you can make it funny. Obviously, there's nothing actually happening there when I offer him money, but that can turn into a 3 or 4, 5 stage routine. I can get lots of jokes out of it, even though the subject's not actually doing anything. And then linking that to the next big thing, which is an emotional shift. So get them laughing, get them angry, get them terrified, get them embarrassed. You know, you don't want to upset the person, obviously, but if it's all done in jest, and more importantly, you give them a purpose with their anger or their embarrassment, people to go and, you know, bawl out or throw out or, you know, quieten down, then that can be quite amusing. The next big step after that is to get into some of the mental suggestions, some of the mental phenomena, things like amnesia, things that you not being able to do some very simple tasks. So in the next part of the training, that's what we're going to cover: amnesia, hallucinations, and some of the bigger, heavier phenomenon of hypnosis. Use a set piece, any set piece, okay? So take control, use a set piece, use an induction, doesn't matter if it's a different one or the same one, okay? Deepen it, test your work with anything, arm levitation, head moving, whatever it happens to be, and then give him some suggestions. Do what you're here for, be the hypnotist. Good, be the hypnotist.
Right. Okay, Lee, do you want to just sit with your feet about this far apart and your hands, that's it, perfect. Can I just ask you, are you right or left-handed?
Right-handed.
Right, okay. So can you take your right hand, please, and can you do this with it, so your fingers facing downwards, your thumb in, and if you can put your tip of your finger about 1 inch up from your hairline, that's right, a little bit further forward, that's right. Now I'm going to ask you to close your eyes, and really focus, if you can, on the spot the tip of your finger is making on your head, really looking at it now, really imagine looking at it as if you're looking right up through the top of your skull and focusing on that spot. And as you focus, as you see that spot through the top of your head now, you'll notice that you can't open your eyes. They're getting glued shut. Can you open your eyes? Try and open your eyes now for me. Can you open your eyes?
No.
No, it's strange, isn't it? All right, so just, now you can relax, let everything go. Your hand can float down, you can open your eyes, and I feel as normal. Everything all right? You
Yeah,
feel okay?
fine.
Great. All right, well, thanks for doing that. If I could just take your hand, that's great. Now, if you could just look here for me, that's super. Now, really, really focus on this spot, just below my eye. That's lovely. Super. Great. Focusing on it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Okay, close your eyes and sleep. And as your hand drifts down and touches the top of your leg, so you find yourself going 10 times deeper into hypnosis. In fact, you'll now find yourself into the deepest state of hypnosis you have ever been. Deeper and deeper and deeper. And as you find yourself in that place, as you breathe in and out, so you feel your right hand floating gently upwards on a cushion of air. That's it. I can see it happening. It starts to twitch. As you breathe in and out, so your hand floats up and up. Quite light now, quite light. And as it floats up, you find yourself deeper and deeper in hypnosis. As it floats up, that's it. Further up, as it floats up. Perfect, brilliant. Floats up only as quickly as you find yourself going deeper, deeper into hypnosis. As it floats up, you start to detect an interesting smell. In fact, it's not just an interesting smell, it's actually quite a nasty smell. In fact, it's really, really quite an offensive smell. And it floats up quicker now. It floats up quicker because you're not quite sure where the smell is coming from. Up it floats, quicker and quicker. It's going to float towards your head. It's as if there's a magnet on the back of your hand, which is attracted to a magnet on your forehead. And the closer it gets to your forehead, the quicker it floats there. The problem is that once it reaches the back of your head, the front of your head, your forehead, the back of your hand touches your forehead. As your hand touches your forehead, you're going to realise where the smell is coming from. Up it floats, up it floats. Closer and closer, really quite a strong connection now between the back of your hand and your forehead. Really quite a strong connection. Just as it touches your head, it's going to be 10 times more disgusting, the smell. 10 times more disgusting, but the problem is you now know where the smell is coming from. It's coming from your hand itself, but your hand is bonded to your forehead. You can't move your hand. You cannot move your hand from your forehead. It is now stuck, but that is the source of this revolting smell. You're actually going to feel quite embarrassed about this smell. In fact, incredibly apologetic, really embarrassed that me and Anthony can smell it. We happen to be in the same room as your disgusting, rancid hand. But the problem is every time we tell you not to worry about it, it's absolutely fine, don't worry. Any words of consolation from us will only make it smell worse. And as you realise this, so your eyes will gently float open and you'll have to face us with this smell. You all right? You feel okay? What's up?
Nothing, it's fine.
What's your hand doing Yeah.
Stuck.
Oh,
Can you smell that?
I can smell something, but I didn't want to say anything. You're right.
Yeah, can't smell anything.
Are you sure you can't? Because it's pretty
Don't worry about
obvious. Look, you're amongst friends.
Don't worry about it.
Can you? It's probably. If you. What? Can you? You must be able to smell something.
No,
It's coming from your hand.
no. No, it's
Oh,
not.
it's coming from your direction.
No, it's not.
Don't worry about it, Lee.
It's not.
Just,
It's not.
where's it coming from?
Sorry.
But don't worry. What are you sorry for? What are you sorry for?
Smell.
Yeah, you can smell it. Then what's it like? Describe the smell.
It's really bad.
Don't worry about it.
What's the worst that can happen? We've all smelled horrible smells before.
Make it worse. Make it worse.
And close your eyes. Okay, now you're going to admit that we can all smell this smell, but again, every time we reassure you, it's going to smell worse, and you're going to be able to freely describe what it smells like. Okay, so an eyes open. Oh,
Don't worry about it.
can you? What is that smell? That it is coming from you, isn't it?
Mm.
What is it? What is it?
I'm really sorry.
It's all right, but
Don't worry about it.
don't worry. Don't worry about it. What does it smell like? What's it remind you of?
Dead meat.
Tell him to close his eyes.
Close your eyes.
The only way he's going to get it off is to have to try and shake his hand off his head.
There is one way, Lee, that you can get rid of the smell and feel a bit better about it, you think, is by shaking your hand free from your head. It'll take a bit of effort, but it'll definitely be worth it. Okay, so open your eyes. What are you doing?
I'm getting my hand off.
Why?
Stop the smell.
Well, this doesn't seem to be working. Oh, look, don't worry. We can live with it. We can live with it for a while.
Oh, come on, sort him out now.
Okay.
Go to sleep.
And sleep. And now your hand floating gently downwards.
And the smell disappears.
The smell
Embarrassment
disappears. All your embarrassment disappears. You're feeling happy and relaxed, and all is well.
You can forget all about that now.
You can forget all about any suggestions that I made. Is all gone, and all is well. In a minute, I'm going to count from 1 to 5, and when I get to 5, you're going to wake up in the room. You'll remember everything, but you'll feel fine about it. You'll feel energised, revigorated.
Hilarious.
You'll find it hilarious, in fact, yes. And all silly suggestions will be gone. You'll be free of them. So 1, you're feeling a little bit more awake now. 2, you're feeling a surge of energy passing through every fibre of your body. 3, take a deep breath. Fill your lungs full of energy-giving oxygen. Feel it go through all of your system, make you feel energised and fresh. And 4, fresh spring water flowing through your head, through every limb and your chest, your nose, your face, washing you through clean. And 5, awake.